Stella and Aria sat together at the dining table, surrounded by an impressive array of delicious dishes. Stella picked up a piece of bread, her curiosity piqued. She examined it closely before asking Aria what it was. With a warm smile, Aria explained that it was toast. Fascinated, Stella took a bite, her eyes widening with delight as she savored the flavors. Each dish on the table seemed to captivate her even more, especially the tender meat and the refreshing drink Aria introduced as juice. Stella couldn't help but admire Aria's kindness and generosity as she offered her the entire spread, which Stella gratefully accepted. As they dined, Stella couldn't contain her curiosity about Aria. She turned to Billy, marveling at how beautiful and compassionate Aria was, wondering aloud about her ability to bring people together. Stella could sense an inherent warmth in Aria that seemed to draw everyone closer. Nearby, Behemoth watched the scene with a contemplative expression. Deep within, he made a firm decision to devote his life to serving Aria, fully acknowledging her as his master. Stella noticed his pensive demeanor and found herself wondering what could be going through his mind. Behemoth eventually broke his silence, leaning closer to Stella. Quietly, he revealed his observation, identifying her as an earth dragon. Stella hesitated, but ultimately confirmed it with a nod. Behemoth, in turn, made an urgent request, pleading with her not to disclose to Aria that he was Behemoth. A sly smile crossed Stella's face as she absorbed his confession. She teased him about his fear that Aria would cast him out if she discovered the truth. Behemoth, visibly uneasy, admitted that it was indeed a concern. Sensing an opportunity, Stella agreed to keep his secret, but with a condition. She proposed with an air of playfulness that he become her mate. Behemoth was taken aback, his eyes widening in disbelief. Stella, however, seemed entirely unbothered, confidently helping herself to another sandwich as though the conversation were entirely ordinary. After a moment of hesitation, Behemoth relented, albeit with his own condition. He insisted she refer to him as Tama rather than the title Strong One, which he disliked. From her place at the table, Aria observed the pair with quiet curiosity. Their strange dynamic and the unspoken understanding between them made her wonder if these two truly had the ability to read each other's thoughts. Aria decided to take Stella to town, hoping that the change in environment might help her recover her memory. She was curious about Stella's past and asked what she used to do before losing her memory. Stella revealed that she had been a fighter, which led Aria to assume that she was some kind of adventurer. However, Aria became puzzled when she noticed how Stella treated Tama like a pet, questioning the behavior. Tama, in response, glared at Stella angrily, while Aria worried that Stella's unusual actions might stem from her distress. While deep in thought, Aria suddenly had an idea and suggested that Stella try going on an adventure to trigger her lost memories. Stella, excited by the suggestion, readily agreed. Watching the interaction, Tama couldn't shake the feeling that this was turning into a public display or an exhibition. Unexpectedly, Stella began to transform. Her tail emerged and her body parts started to change, turning her into a dragon. Everyone around her watched in astonishment as her dragon features appeared. Stella explained that whenever she unleashed her power, she transformed into this form. Tama, though still glaring at her, couldn't help but think about how rare it was to encounter someone who could transform into a dragon. Despite the shock, everyone was amazed by Stella's powerful transformation. However, the dragon girl warned everyone not to touch her, and Meow Girl apologized, promising to respect her boundaries. To help her adjust, Aria handed Stella a sword and encouraged her to pick one that suited her. Overjoyed, Stella ran to inspect the swords, eagerly evaluating each one. Aria stood behind her, observing as Stella searched for something specific. Eventually, Stella triumphantly held out a black iron shield, announcing that she had found what she was looking for. Aria was surprised to see Stella effortlessly lift the shield, clearly using her dragon powers. Stella stood confidently, thrilled with her newfound telepathic abilities, which allowed her to communicate silently with Tama. Holding the shield seemed to trigger memories of her past as a dragon fighter, reminding Stella of the fearless warrior she used to be. However, those memories were clouded by her current feelings of vulnerability, as she now felt like a frightened girl. Tama, sensing her inner turmoil, acknowledged her fear and attempted to reassure her. Stella confessed that she was afraid of death and even of him. This admission left Tama visibly upset, but Stella felt a sense of peace. She revealed to Tama that he had taught her the meaning of love and power, a realization that left him momentarily speechless. Suddenly, Stella discarded the shield and dashed toward a giant sword, claiming it as her weapon. The sword, however, fell on Valkuna, prompting Stella to warn Aria to stay back. Declaring the sword dangerous, Stella carefully picked it up, shocking everyone with her immense strength. Aria felt proud to see Stella armed and ready, though Tama remained uneasy, sensing trouble ahead. Aria then tasked Tama with looking after Stella, who seemed determined to slay a monster lurking inside a nearby cave. As they ventured into the cave, Stella took the lead, her eagerness uncontainable. Valcuna and Aria tried to hold her back, but she dashed ahead recklessly. Soon, she encountered 3 goblins that wasted no time attacking her. Stella, Valcuna, and Aria retaliated in unison. Mid-battle, Stella transformed her arm into a dragon's claw, confronting the goblins with an air of dominance. She demanded to know how they dared to attack her before swiftly blocking their attacks and defeating them all in one powerful move. The sight left everyone stunned. Stella's strength was undeniable, as she had taken down all 3 goblins without even using her sword. Admitting that she had forgotten about her weapon, Stella laughed before swiftly eliminating a goblin that tried to attack her from behind. This time, she used her sword and seemed to enjoy every moment of it. Tama observed her closely, realizing that she was a true earth dragon, though he silently hoped she wouldn't lose control. Meanwhile, Aria speculated that Stella's behavior was linked to her lost memory. She resolved to support Stella as she navigated this phase of rediscovery. Valcuna agreed, as did Tama. Stella, however, began craving a stronger opponent, dismissing the goblins as too weak to challenge her abilities. She commented that her shield wasn't as useful as she had hoped and expressed a desire to find a more significant challenge. Recognizing that Stella's powers were growing, Aria grew concerned about what might happen next. Later, the group encountered a set of D-rank monsters. Stella viewed them as slightly more challenging than the goblins she had faced before. When the monsters attacked, she retaliated, using her shield to defeat one with ease. Watching her, Tama thought about how shields were designed for defense, not attack. Aria, on the other hand, marveled at Stella's raw strength while worrying about how far Stella might push herself. As they continued deeper into the cave, Stella spotted an unusual creature, a D-rank monster. She found its appearance revolting and immediately charged at it, ignoring Tama's warnings. The monster, however, proved formidable, grabbing Stella's sword in its jaws and refusing to let go. Stella struggled to retrieve her weapon, but the monster was stronger than she anticipated. Aria and Meow Girl watched in panic as the monster launched a sticky substance at Stella, covering her in a gooey mess. Enraged, Stella let out a deafening roar and fought back with renewed vigor. Aria, Valcuna, and Stella attacked the creature together, but their combined efforts seemed futile. Tama, fearing for Aria's safety, decided to intervene. He released his tail, pulling Valcuna and Aria to safety before attacking the monster with his water-howling ability. The monster fell under Tama's powerful strike. As the battle concluded, Tama tried to calm Stella, but she was upset that Tama had killed the monster she wanted to defeat. Tama gently explained that she shouldn't waste her energy on low-rank enemies. Although still frustrated, Stella reflected on his words and recalled how Tama had once hurt her in battle. Tama, noticing her hesitation, reassured her not to fear him. Valcuna joined them and suggested they take a break. Stella, still determined, picked up her sword again, but Tama stopped her. He promised to take care of her and protect her from harm, reminding her not to overexert herself. Stella smiled at his words, feeling reassured, and decided to overcome her fears. Resolving to use her strength for the betterment of humanity, she asked Valcuna to teach her how to wield the sword properly. Valcuna agreed, suggesting they celebrate their progress with a party. Everyone eagerly left the cave and headed back. As they walked, Valcuna began explaining basic sword techniques, drawing diagrams on the ground. Aria helped clarify the concepts. Stella, ever eager, joked about becoming a tank, much to Tama's dismay as he worried she might take the idea too literally. Their training was interrupted by the sudden arrival of more monsters. Stella banged her shield against her sword, challenging them to fight. As the monsters attacked, Stella effortlessly defeated one while Tama released his energy to shield the group. Aria and Valcuna quickly finished off the remaining monsters. Later, the group visited a shop where a man named Lise introduced himself. He requested their assistance in escorting a cargo shipment. Aria accepted the task, and Lise showed them the skeleton of an earth dragon. The sight deeply affected Stella, leaving her somber as she reflected on the legacy and fate of her kind. This is just the beginning, she thought, her heart filled with purpose and determination. Together, they stepped forward, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them, united by a bond forged in battle and trust.